What a week, huh?
Liv, it's Wednesday.
Hello and welcome to the It's Wednesday podcast. We are back, baby, and we are watching and discussing every episode of 30 Rock. I'm Liv Olcott, and I've never seen 30 Rock before.
And I'm Jack Dalton, and I have seen every episode of 30 Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to season 2. Can you believe
Here
it,
we
Liv?
are.
I can't believe we're here.
No. I haven't seen you since we recorded season 1.
No,
How was
our
your
relationship...
summer?
Oh, how was your summer? How was your summer? How was your summer?
Hey, how was your summer?
I was just rewatching the episode this afternoon, and I was like, wait, we absolutely have to open with that joke because she says it 10,000 times to 10,000 people and doesn't listen to a single person's response. She just keeps walking and saying, how was your summer?
She's just like me.
And if you're wondering who we're talking about, listeners, you're clearly not sure what podcast you're listening to, even though Liv did just set it up very nicely. We're talking about our very close friend, Liz Lemon, and her friends and enemies at 30 Rockefeller Plaza in the television sitcom 30 Rock. We're so excited to be back. If you are just meeting us for the first time, welcome. We're thrilled to have you. We have an entire coverage of season 1 of 30 Rock already up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. But as we enter into season 2, you know, the show grows up a little bit. The show 30 Rock, it evolves. I can talk about some of those transitions in just a moment, but who would we be if we didn't evolve alongside the show we're covering? So as we're entering season 2, there's a number of new changes and developments that you might be noticing. So, Liv, do you want to share any of the new changes we might be making?
Well, there is one kind of big one. We're on video now.
We are.
You can see our beautiful faces.
Mm-hmm.
We have been posting some of the clips that we had recorded from season 1 many moons ago, which you can see on our new YouTube account, It's Wednesday on YouTube. And if you're only listening to this podcast, not watching this podcast, well then you're missing something pretty important, which is us doing this. Who has trucker hats now, Frank?
The thing is, I'm kind of tempted to not explain what we just did for anyone who's just listening to us. And where can you watch us? Liv pointed it out earlier. We're on YouTube now. Our account is It's Wednesday. Big surprise. But you can find us there alongside our highlights from season 1. We'll, of course, continue to be posting highlights for season 2, both on YouTube and on Instagram, which is It's Wednesday podcast. So there's just going to be lots of new ways to engage with us and to just digest whatever the hell this podcast we're putting on is to your heart's content. You want to watch us, you want to listen to us, you want to do both or neither. That's up to you. We will leave that to you. Some other changes as we enter season 2 is we're changing the structure of our podcast ever so slightly. There are some changes that we'll dive into. Yeah, you might not even notice. There's some changes we'll dive into as we get to our stages at the end. But in terms of the general coverage of the podcast, we're going to do things mostly the same way. We'll do our episode intro. I'll do our Rule of 3 section where I give you 3 fun facts about the production of the episode that we're discussing that week. But for the actual body of the episode coverage, instead of going literally beat by beat, as we did in season 1, we're going to loosen it up just a little bit. Instead, we're going to cover quite broadly what happens in each act of the episode, and then just have a little bit more of a relaxed discussion about things that jumped out to us, lines that really jumped out to us, character beats that we found interesting and want to dive into. Something a little bit less prescriptive than how we were running the episodes in season 1. Definitely let us know your thoughts on it. If you're really missing the structure of the season 1 recaps, please let us know. If you're really enjoying hearing the more kind of conversational energy that I think we're hoping to really exploit in season 2, because we were starting to find it at the end of season 1, wonderful. We just would really love to hear your feedback as we're making changes.
Unless it's mean, then I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you're going to be mean, I don't know, go listen to some other podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're going to be mean, our podcast, It's Thursday, airing on Spotify.
Oh, what a stupid joke. I love it.
Come on, how can you hate it? It's hilarious.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay. Well, I think it's about time that we dive right in. In case you haven't gathered just yet, this week we're talking about the premiere of season 2. Season 2, episode 1, SeinfeldVision. But before we go there, I'm going to once again reiterate, just give us a follow on social media if you haven't already. We're on Instagram at Lemon It's Wednesday Podcast. We're on YouTube at Lemon It's Wednesday. And you can email us at lemonitswednesdaypodcast@gmail.com.
Now, for this week's episode, Seinfeld Vision was written by Tina Fey, directed by Don Scardino, and aired on October 4th, 2007. Just a stellar combination. Whenever it's Tina Fey and Don Scardino, you know it's going to be a good one. And there were 76 jokes in this episode.
Now, according to IMDb, this is the episode where an angry Jerry Seinfeld goes to 30 Rock to confront Jack after he learns that Jack plans to digitally insert him into every current NBC program. Meanwhile, Liz buys a wedding dress, even though her marriage prospects are slim. Tough read, IMDb. Really, really heartless, but also not inaccurate.
Also sort of missing out on maybe my favorite plot of the episode.
Yeah, there's
Tracy
some
and Kenneth
there.
joined in matrimony.
And let's not forget Jenna in her Mystic Pizza musical and the fallout from there.
I have a lot to say about the fallout from there. We'll get there.
I figured you would, and rightfully so. Now, before we dive into this episode's Rule of Threes segment, I thought it would be interesting just to hear a little bit about the development of season 2 and some of the transitions that happened between seasons 1 and season 2. So again, a lot of this information, I'll promote again the 30 Rock book, everything from Blerg to EGOT, written by Mike Rowe. This was an excellent source for a lot of behind the scenes information for the production of the show, but some other information has been pulled from interviews. So let's see, between seasons 1 and 2, as we know, season 1 had a really acclaimed run, and the show really showed no signs of slowing down. So between seasons, fun fact, Tina Fey was using this time to shoot Baby Mama alongside Amy Poehler.
Whoa, Baby Mama. I forgot about Baby Mama.
She did season 1 of 30 Rock, then she did Baby Mama, and then she did season 2. And I believe before season 1, she did Mean Girls. And that was right off of SNL. So she's a busy woman.
A busy bee, one could say. Bee movie opening November 4th.
She looked directly into the camera when she said that. Now, some other things happening behind the scenes for the show 30 Rock. There were a number of promotions for the cast. So a number of folks were bumped up to starring roles for the season after being recurring characters in season 1. These included Katrina Bowden, who plays Cerie, Keith Powell, who plays Toofer, and Lonnie Ross, who plays Josh. These 3 folks all got bumps up to series regulars, which is really exciting. And similarly, after directing 6 episodes in the first season, Don Scardino, who directed the premiere of season 2, was also given the role as producing director. So another jump in the behind the scenes hierarchy. There's a refreshed version of Jack's office in season 2. They just kind of redesigned and polished up the set.
Sure did.
Yeah, some of this came from Alec Baldwin because he felt his character had changed over the course of the first season, as I think we would hope any character does in a long form piece of work. And he felt, quote, he belonged in something warmer and more inviting now and insisted on having it redesigned. I think it does look a little bit cozier. I think it's also just a little bit better lit and more evenly lit. I think that's a constant for the entire set, actually. Like across the board, the show is just lit a little bit differently, it seems to me. I mean,
I think his office looks like the set of a Nancy Meyers movie. Am I wrong?
I can't fight you there. Along those same lines as well, Teresa Mastropiero, who is one of the production designers for 30 Rock, was quoted saying, quote, "As the actors developed who they were, we followed their lead. We did a redesign of Jenna's dressing room at one point. She started putting a lot of pictures of herself up." Tracy was in a movie in an earlier episode, and he mentions it. We'll make a poster out of that, and it'll show up in his dressing room and stay there for the rest of the series. As they embodied their characters, it informed me on how to design their sets. Movie posters including Fat Bitch, I would like to highlight.
Of
Black
course.
Cop, White Cop was another one. There's just a lot of really excellent jokes on the walls in everyone's dressing rooms in the show. And then, of course, there are some changes in the writing, or just the philosophy of the writing that were coming into season 2. So Tina Fey in July of 2007 was doing an interview with the Philadelphia Daily News about the second season. And some of the changes she had in mind were the following. This is Tina's quote. Quote, "I would really like to try to live in the world of the characters we've created for a little bit. We had a lot of great guest stars last year, but I also feel like there's a lot we could explore with the characters that we have. And I'd like to leave a little breathing room in the show to let viewers keep up a little. I feel like sometimes it was a little too dense, the show last year. In a way, it was the thing that made Arrested Development so great, but I wonder if it will help new viewers come to the show if it's a little bit less packed." Narrator voice, they did not make this any less dense than our season.
I was just gonna say. There's a lot to talk about in this episode.
Like, Tina, I understand the impulse, and to be frank, I'm really glad you resisted it, whether that was a
Yeah.
conscious choice or it's just there's no other way to write the show, because as we've discussed at length in season 1, one of our favorite things about this series is how dense it is in terms of joke count, in terms of plot lines, in terms of cultural references. They did not really let up, I don't think. But
Nope.
you might ask yourself, and we're looking a little bit to the future right now, and I am sharing this mostly just to get my co-host Liv very excited about the remainder of the season, but you might ask yourself, did these changes pay off? And the answer is yeah, because the second season of the show received overwhelmingly positive reviews from critics. Some were calling it the best show on television at the time, and the show was
Whoa.
also nominated for 17 Emmys. At the
Jesus
time,
Christ.
that broke the record for the most nominations for a comedy series, and also was the most nominated comedy series for any individual Emmy in history up to that point. So
Whoa.
I think it worked for them. I think the show might be okay.
Yeah, I think they may have kind of figured it out.
They may have worked something out.
Dang, 17? That's crazy.
I know, absolutely astonishing, especially back in the day where I feel like the genres were a lot more defined. Like nowadays, you know, The Bear is up as a comedy. Like
That was my first thought, exactly as you said. Nowadays, I'm like, oh, The Bear.
There's a really great argument for this is neither here nor there, but the categories being more delineated between short and long form storytelling in terms of
I
how long the hours.
agree.
So I'd be interested to see if that happens, but maybe it never will. Anyway, that was our season 2 production corner. But before we now dive into the episode itself, the premiere, beat by beat, we of course must first make our offering to the patron saint of comedy, Tina Fey, by observing the rule of threes.
Is this a rule of threes call?
So glad that everyone can now see me dancing.
I know. Yeah, we dance to our little jingles. Each week, I'm going to be sharing 3 fun facts about the production of the episode we're discussing. So, number 1, the second season of 30 Rock premiered 3 weeks after the show, speaking of Emmys, won a surprise Outstanding Comedy Series at the 59th Emmy Awards. So, yes, season 1 won for Best Emmy, and the season 2 premiere kicked off not very long after that. Really riding high at this point. Number 2, speaking of Jack's new office, when Jack and Liz walk into the office at the beginning of the cold open, you can see a crew member's hand holding something on the left end of the screen. If you want to find it, folks, it's when Liz enters and she does a little twirl to take in the new office. You can see someone's hand just right at the left corner of the screen. I don't know, that maybe they're holding a script. They're just there's a hand there, and it shouldn't be there.
I think it was script.
Yeah. And number 3, this is all about our guest performer of the week. Maybe you've heard of him. He's an up-and-comer, Jerry Seinfeld. First of all, he and Alec Baldwin, fun fact, are from the same hometown of Massapequa, New York.
Massapequa?
What a world. A little bit more about Seinfeld at the time. At the time, he had only appeared in 2 television acting roles since his sitcom ended in 1998. That was in Mad About You and News Radio. And then along came 30 Rock. And as you know, part of the concept of this episode is NBC taking old footage of Jerry from Seinfeld and inserting him digitally into different NBC properties. So because of this, they made Jerry Seinfeld present day at the time wear a wig to make him look like the character Jerry Seinfeld.
No way.
And you can see it like when you see him in the actual scenes with Alec Baldwin and then you see him inserted. The hair is a lot more full and rectangular. It just looks more artificial. But apparently upon first wearing the wig, Seinfeld said, quote, "This looks really weird," but his wife assured him, quote, "That's what you look like."
I just thought that was down to like it being bad CGI.
No, it was a
Oh,
wig.
Jerry,
It
I'm
was both a bad wig
sorry.
and bad CGI.
Wow, a double whammy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
And that's where we are. So, Liv,
Jack?
have you returned from the secret country only rich people know about?
Yes, but I can't tell you which one I was at.
What if I threaten you with litigation?
Fine.
Okay.
I'll tell you at the end of the episode.
I want to go to there.
We are back from summer break in the cold open. Liz wants everyone to know that she's had a great summer. She totally doesn't miss Floyd at all. Jack has also been very productive, and he has a great idea, and it's called SeinfeldVision. One of our, longer cold opens here, but really just sort of focusing between Liz coming back to work, Jack coming back to work, and seeing the two of them back at it. Immediate hallway meeting. Within 15 seconds of the episode, we're back in the hallway.
We're so back.
We are, in fact, so back. Nobody knows about his cardiac event, and he wants it to stay that way. And one of his big ideas is Seinfeld vision. He had his old tech guys to digitally capture Seinfeld, and now they can make him do whatever they want. They AI'd Jerry Seinfeld.
That was one of my notes was this is a really scary instance of 30 Rock again predicting the future, in this case being AI celebrity capture.
Yeah. I have a few quick things to talk about here in the cold open. First
Yes.
being one of Jack's summer replacement shows, MILF Island. Jack, what do you know about MILF Manor?
Oh, I know all about it. This is another instance of 30 Rock predicting the future.
For those of you who may not be as chronically online as the two of us, MILF Manor was a genuine show that came out 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Single women between 40 and 60s seek love with single men in their 20s while staying in a beautiful retreat in Mexico. The twist, however, mothers and sons.
It's so horrible.
Genuinely so upsetting. Like they said, MILF Manor, and I had war flashbacks of a show that I watched maybe one episode of because I had to know. And then I said, this makes me sick to my stomach. I'm going to stop.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, so when MILF Manor was being publicized and advertised, of course, anyone who had ever seen or heard of 30 Rock were like, oh my God, they're making MILF Island. And the thing is, it's kind of worse because
it's way worse. Way worse.
Of course, this isn't the conceit is not that the mother and son are involved. It's just those are the two contestants that are brought to this whole pool, and then everyone intermingles.
Yeah.
But the fact that they have maternal relationships with anyone else on the show makes it so infinitely creepier than the conceit that Jack has for MILF Island, which is essentially the same idea, but plus Survivor and minus any familial bonds.
Now, I do have to say that they are 8th grade boys, which is
what? That's a solid hit. That's a solid hit on MILF Island.
But also not a real show. Didn't actually happen. MILF Manor actually happened in 2022. Very different than 2007. So it's just, evens it off.
It's really unfortunate.
Really, really bad. I did not like that. I hope we don't hear more about it.
It has been as many years since MILF Island was first introduced to us as the age of the contestants on MILF Island. And that's my new corner called Really Upsetting Math Facts.
I hated that. But you are right, and that's the worst part. Yeah. I was just so happy to see Liz and Jack immediately back to it, of just Liz really earnestly sharing her summer and then Jack being mean to her. She talks about what she was involved with over the summer. She's quilting, she's doing yoga, she's wearing flip-flops in public. Jack, fuck, marry, kill.
No. Listeners are really missing out on the impact of what just happened. So a little bit of context. For Liv's birthday, a friend of the pod, Brenna, and I splurged on a number of trucker hats in the style of Frank Rossitano. As we mentioned earlier, we both have co-host hats, but one of the hats that we got for Liv says FMK on threatening red background.
Air
And
horn,
as
air
she-
horn.
As she set that up, she swapped her hats out, and I'm furious with my purchase.
You did it to yourself.
I did. Okay. What are my options?
Anyway, your options are quilting, and specifically a quilt that you're never going to finish,
Okay.
doing yoga twice a week, and wearing flip-flops in public in summer in New York City.
Okay, you know what, this is kind of easy. I'm killing the wearing the flip-flops in the summer in New York City.
Mhm.
Sanitation. Just no thank you.
Yeah,
I've
obviously.
passed enough nondescript neon green pools of liquid on the streets of
Yeah.
New York to not want
Yeah.
to do that. I'm fucking yoga twice a week because, I mean, couldn't you
come
classify
on.
sex as yoga to an extent, depending on what you're doing?
Whoa, yeah.
Maybe it's, if it wasn't Liz Lemon, I would say perhaps that's code for sex, but we know it's not.
Should be.
And then, yeah, I'm marrying the quilt that you're just never going to finish, because what
Isn't
better
that
perfect metaphor for life
Yeah,
and for
isn't-
love than a quilt that you keep making together and never actually finish?
Oh, see, I was going to say 40% of quilting ends in not finishing it, just like how 40% of marriages end in divorce. So kind of like a glass half full, glass half empty situation.
I suppose my glass half full perspective still means that it never finishes because you die. But,
yeah, you die.
yeah.
Huh.
So what do you think, people? Divorce or death?
Those are your options.
Very light topics for our premiere episode.
It's the red. It brings it out.
It
in
is,
us.
yeah. It just really makes me
Wow.
lose my mind. Apparently. Okay.
I'll go back into my true
Thank
form.
you. I feel safer.
Anyway, I did actually have one other joke that I did write down in the cold open. Of three things Jack is absolutely certain. Liz will never finish that quilt. She's not over Floyd, and Edward Cullen is a vampire. As he said, I was just like, that's the opening. That's the line on the back jacket of Twilight.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Of two things I know for sure. And I'm like, yep, Edward Cullen is a vampire.
Yeah. Two things I want to mention are, when Jack is listing the TV shows that he's inserted Jerry Seinfeld into, I just entirely forgot about the show Medium. He said Medium, and I gasped. I was like, I forgot about you. And also, as I told you, Liv, last week, the vocal stim that's been in my brain since watching this episode is Jerry Seinfeld being inserted into Heroes, and after he says "Save the cheerleader, save the world," and the characters in the show repeat that same line, Jerry Seinfeld goes, "Yeah, that's what I said." And being in a position where I'm emailing with folks who fairly regularly don't read what I actually said and then respond with the point I just made as if it's a brand new thought.
Mm-hmm.
I often
Never had before.
find myself saying that to my Outlook inbox.
Yeah.
Anyway, we come back from the main titles into Act 1, and this is where we really get to catch up with all of our friends and family at 30 Rock. So here's a quick rundown of all the things that are going down here. First, we've got Tracy and Kenneth. Thank God. I'm so glad to be back with our boys. Now, what's going on with them? Well, apparently Angie, Tracy's wife, kicked him out because he was photographed with another woman who the magazine mistook for Angie. And this is when Kenneth becomes Tracy's work wife.
Yeah.
They kind of already were, it feels like, only now it's more formal, and now they can really play into that dynamic. A few things I want to highlight here. Very funny that Angie got, quote, custody of Grizz. So we do not see Grizz, we only see .com here.
Grizz is gonna come back, right? I miss him.
We'll have to see what happens with Angie and Tracy. I don't know.
I miss him so much.
There was also a really great quote from Tracy that I feel like should be the advertising campaign for really any professional degree program. Like I could see this being on the T. Quote, you can be a freaky deaky and do data entry.
It's really inspirational.
Don't limit yourself is what we're saying. The world is your oyster. And of course, a little bit less fun because it's 2007. Lots of very outdated trans language here, which is just really unfortunate.
Not great.
Transvestite at the time was a little bit less blatantly not acceptable. It was a lot more commonplace to be used at the time. Not anymore. So I want to put that out there. If you're still saying transvestite, don't.
Stop.
Stop it.
Say
Stop
something
it.
else.
Yeah. And that's our social justice warrior corner for Lemonade Wednesday this week.
Bummer.
Sometimes it's important.
Even more exciting than Kenneth, finally having a legal binding proposal from Tracy. Him getting to meet Jerry Seinfeld. This is Kenneth's best day.
I've never seen a larger smile on a person's face.
What, his or mine? Really genuinely. Just standing in the elevator singing the Seinfeld music sting at Jerry Seinfeld is so funny. Like,
the thing is, that's the intrusive thought that I think goes through most people's heads when they meet Jerry Seinfeld. And Kenneth had the courage to do it.
And the bravery. He's perfect. I love it.
He's so brave.
Hey, we made it into a half hour before I talked about how much I love Kenneth.
I think that's a new record.
Yeah. What was the Kalshi on that? Is that what that is? That like weird betting website that I'm seeing everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to play Sudoku. I don't want to talk about Kalshi.
We then get to catch up with Liz and Jenna and Suri. Jenna, we learned, has spent the summer in the Mystic Pizza musical on Broadway. Broadway. And I do think we need to hear the magnum opus of this musical.
You know, Jojo, when life keeps handing you anchovies, just cover them up with some extra cheese and make a pizza.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. If you're curious, ladies and gentlemen, you can listen to the song in full over the credits of the episode, where there's just a really incredible riff of some woman that I don't think is Jane Krakowski unless they layered her because it's over her own lines. But it's some woman going, Elphaba, step aside.
It's stunning.
It's
truly
astonishing. This is absolutely one of those songs that I think about fairly regularly.
Yeah.
And it's a great lesson. A great lesson when life keeps giving you anchovies. Just cover them up with some extra cheese and make a pizza.
Yeah.
With what you got.
I have been singing it to myself all week. Because life has been giving me anchovies, and I am making a pizza.
I just really appreciate how hard she hits and make a pizza. She's
giving it her all. Broadway deserves
Broadway.
It.
She's on Broadway. Exactly. Well, as wonderful as that is, this does bring us to, I think, a little bit of a bummer of a storyline. So this is the setup. After eating 32 pieces of pizza every week, this, of course, and understandably as it would for anyone, led to Jenna gaining a few pounds. Liz gasps when she sees her, and Jenna shares that she just can't flip back the eating switch. She was just eating so much every week that's just the rhythm she got into. All very normal and natural, but of course the body shaming comes in immediately. Jack demands that she either, quote, lose 30 pounds or gain 60 because, quote, anything in between has no place on television. Very tough, but also very true of television in the 2000s. So that is absolutely, I'm sure, a note that a network executive has given to the cast of shows in the past.
I have some things to say. Number one, she doesn't even look that different. This sucked so much, like in the 2000s going into the 2010s, when they'd be like, oh my God, this plus size model, this plus size actress, and then it's just a normal person.
Yep. Yeah.
Always makes me really mad. And yeah, there is one laugh that is genuinely funny about this plot line, which is a little bit later in the episode, but we're talking about it now, and it's our show and we can do what we want. which is the vertical line dress. Like, that is funny, and that
The
is
visual
genuinely a funny
trickery.
moment. Yeah, like, Jen Carasi's delivery of visual trickery, the insane contour she's got going on. Makeup is also crazy this week. That is the one moment where I'm like, haha, the rest, I just don't like it. Who cares? Who cares? So, yeah.
It's a bummer. I mean, I think you're the main one of the points that you made that is just very so kind of hits the nail on the head is the fact that yes, they're all reacting to her as if she is like morbidly obese, which again,
Yeah.
not putting any stigma on that, but she just looks like an average person and the response just feels very out of line
Like,
with
so
the reality.
genuinely, because of course it's played for a visual reveal. She's in the makeup chair. She has the full like smock on, and then they take it off, and Liz like gasps. And I genuinely, for a moment, I was like, "What? What did I miss?" Like, I didn't notice
Yeah.
because it's. I mean, it is. I'm assuming that like some sort of suit or whatever padding that they had put on Jane Krakowski, who is admittedly a tiny woman, like.
Mhm.
There is, I guess, a prop there to be like, well, it looks really natural. Like, but
Yeah.
again, I almost wish if they were going to make this storyline, let's then actually go for it. Like, frankly, we've seen Jen Krakowski and I hate this word, but like fat suit before, pan a morbidly obese woman.
Mhm.
Put her
Yeah.
in that. Because
That's
I
an
could talk about
interesting
this for
point,
forever. It makes me mad. But
Yeah.
Jen
And
Krakowski
the
does
thing is,
do a good job. I will
yeah,
give that to
she
her.
always does. She never fails to do a good job or a great
Yeah.
job. I would dare to say. It's interesting because I mean, not to give away plot points necessarily, but I do think they do some interesting satire with this on the industry and its relationship to weight, especially at this time going forward. I think maybe what the line there is, and people, we understand this is a comedy. We understand it's a product of
Yeah.
its time. We say all of this with love for the show and that giant asterisk of we get it. But still, these conversations are interesting and I feel like are really kind of systemic to what TV was at the time. So
Yeah.
worth discussing them. I think something that maybe puts it in a little bit different of a light is that Liz also has such an extreme reaction to it. Like if it would almost feel more organic or more less of a she's fat now and more of a kind of condemnation of the industry at the time if Liz like noticed almost nothing and then Jack suddenly is like, oh my god, she's so overweight, and they're like, no, she looks literally fine. That's my wishful rewrite for this plot line in 2026, but yeah, it's a little messy. We're going to come across in like most comedies of the time, we're going to come across a number of eyebrow raising storylines throughout our run, and just want to share our 2 cents looking back on it. Speaking of fat shaming, unfortunately, all the writers really pile on Jenna. And this is right before Suri asks Liz and Jenna to be her bridesmaids. Liz agrees kind of begrudgingly just to make a point that she's totally over Floyd because Suri suggests that she doesn't want to be a bridesmaid because she must still be really upset that Floyd broke up with her. So Liz just to make a point, agrees and volunteers Jenna, who looks like she would rather do nothing less. She's not feeling good about herself. She doesn't want to be up in front next to Suri, who is just like very, very skinny, very thin, and absolutely. I mean, Katrina Bowden is absolutely stunning.
I did have one other laugh.
Yes.
One other laugh with the whole fat shaming joke. Jane Rossi's delivery and face of "Don't stand next to me. Stand farther away from me." When Suri walked into the room.
Near me.
Hilarious. That was hilarious.
It's really good.
And Suri's just like, okay. And on the writer's room, another note, guess who's back? It's Liv, Pete, and Liz are in love. Watch. Did you see Pete's face when Liz tells the writers that she and Floyd broke up?
No, I didn't.
He like fully perks up and like cocks his head like a cocker spaniel.
This is his chance.
Yeah, he knows it. But also, like, is he not still living on the floor of her apartment? I kind of forget where we left off with Pete and his wife in season 1.
I don't think they're living together anymore, but I can't really say if they did actually wrap that up in season 1.
I guess like vasectomy gate is just that's done.
It's old news.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to put that pin in there. He's still in
Yeah.
love with her.
It does.
He knows
And
it.
speaking of old, another really great line when Liz and Jenna agree to be Cerie's bridesmaids. Cerie hugs Liz and say, "Yay! Now I have my something old."
Oh, it's so good. It's so very good. Coming back from the commercial break into Act 2, kind of continuing with the girls here. Their wedding dress shopping. Cerie and Liz and Jenna. They are being like good bridesmaids, I guess. It is kind of crazy that Cerie doesn't have any other friends. Like, I feel like she would be the kind of bride to have like 15 bridesmaids in her wedding. Doesn't she kind of give that vibe to you?
She does. And I can't remember, did she say why she was asking Liz and Jenna? I could have sworn there was some like line about like her bridesmaids dropping out or something. I don't know, but
I just need you to be my bridesmaids, and they don't question that.
Interesting.
I just feel like she would have more. Also, like, where's Cerie's mom? Are we ever gonna? Probably not. But that's sort of like a standard thing. Is like, whatever. They're going dress shopping, and there's some really great beats within this of Jenna, not wanting anything to do with touching the dresses, Liz being shocked about the cost, and then Liz actually ended up being the only one to try on dresses because they don't come at Cerie's size. Which, unfortunately, from my own knowledge of wedding dress shopping, they are never in your actual size. They're in sample sizes that you can put on and then pin to see the sizing. So that's just something I happen to know about the wedding dress industry. I've watched so much Say Yes to the Dress. But I do want to hear your thoughts specifically on, of course, the Liz flashback. Yeah.
This brings me so much joy. I did write down the quote. So Liz does share that she had thought about her own wedding as a child, but to her point, she never romanticized it. We get this flashback to young Liz holding a bear and I think another bear. I can't remember what the animal was.
It's another bear. Yep.
Little Liz says, "This is my husband, Saul Rosenbear, and this is his son, Richard, from a previous marriage."
And then the bastard cheated on her with a lamb. Oh.
With a lamb. Just A+ delivery to the little child actress who I know at some point is Tina Fey's actual daughter. I don't know if this is her yet. I think she's way too young. But I know at some point when they do flashbacks to young Liz, they use Tina Fey's actual daughter.
I love that.
Just really sweet. But yeah, A+ line delivery to this child actor and to Tina Fey for the, and then he cheated on me with a lamb. And Jenna's very genuine. Oh,
that's sad.
It's
now,
great stuff.
This is the moment where I'm going to be really vulnerable and really honest on this podcast and talk about something I used to do with my dolls as a child. So I grew up, in the 2000s, which means obviously I was given Barbies. And instead of, the typical standard play of a young girl with Barbies, I had a courtroom drama where I would indict my Barbies for like grand larceny and tax fraud, and I would be their judge, jury, and executioner, and I would hang them from lamps in my mom's studio.
So I was going to say, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime, but I don't think I believe that the 8th Amendment exists in your justice system. Lots of cruel and unusual punishment described just now.
No, they did it. I put them through a jury process that just happened to be guilty.
Yes.
Don't blame me, blame the prosecutor. Or no, I guess the defense. Blame the defense.
Did they have defense attorneys?
Yes. They just weren't very good at their job.
Apparently not. Well, yet another wonderful entry into the rich tapestry that is Liv's childhood.
I just think young Liz Lemon and I really would have gotten along.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was playing school with my stuffed animals. Two very different
That is the
paths.
realest thing I've ever heard. You definitely made like your friends play homework.
Oh yeah, no, I never made my friends
Yeah.
do it. It was just
'Cause they
I
wouldn't?
would do. Well, no, I don't think I ever even. I think I knew it was a special thing. So I would never do this alone. I would do it with my god sister, who I've realized over the years is a little less frequently used term, but my godmother's child, my god
Just me.
sister Emma, who is a teacher now. She and I would play with all of our Build-A-Bears, and we'd play school, and we'd teach the lesson together, and then we would take turns filling in the answer sheets that we made ourselves. And some students were very good and would get them right. Then we would, on purpose, make them wrong on other ones because some students just are struggling, and it was a really holistic view on the
Wow.
teaching process. I
It
also
really was the public school system, huh?
yeah, I do have to give props to my neighbor Pat, who I would bring the stuffed animals down to her house, and I would make her take the quizzes and homework assignments that I wrote up. So thank you, Pat, for your years of
Wow.
indulging the little tyrant that was Professor Dalton at the age of 5.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There is. My need, well, I guess in both cases for you and for me, there's a story about a person who really wants to be in control.
Yeah.
I went the education route. You went the maiming your dolls route.
Sure. And I'd like to say that we do now both work in education, so I did see the light.
We do.
Huh. Welcome to this week's episode of Lemons Wednesday, Therapy Edition. Speaking of therapy, you know who needs some? Jonathan.
Yeah.
He's stressed this episode, and so is Jack. Basically, the rest of the episode is just Jack crashing out and trying to figure out a way to get out of what he has done with SeinfeldVision. Because guess who's back? It's Jerry Seinfeld, and who is not happy about SeinfeldVision? It's Jerry Seinfeld. So there is a lot of, Jack trying to avoid this confrontation, whether that's sicking Jonathan on Jerry, sicking Liz on Jerry, sicking Kenneth on Jerry, and just trying to avoid. But I do want to just quote one specific line that we get between Jonathan and Jack before really diving into the Jerry of it all. Does he look upset? He looks the way you did when I tried to hold your hand on the jet. Show the footage.
I'm so glad we're starting to finally dive into the Jack and Jonathan relationship because it's one of my favorite things in this
Oh my
show.
God. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Now, why do you think he wanted to hold his hand? Was it just the draw that he has towards Jack? Do you think he was scared? Like, do you think it was a turbulence? I want to hold your hand?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a turbulence as an excuse. Kind
Yes,
of like
he
a
wanted you the entire
manufactured
time, and that
thing.
was his way in. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that was his way in. I would think so. Jerry gets called, down to do a tour. Liz somehow gets out of the wedding dress that she was in and back to the studio in like record time.
Yeah.
And I love how Jerry is so immediately diving into Liz's drama. He's like, "Oh, you broke up with your boyfriend. Still talking? What's going on? Tell me all about it." Like, he really wants to know.
He does. And I'll be honest, the first time I saw that scene, it's the way Jerry Seinfeld delivers, still talking. It's like so passively. He does engage with her, but like the way he says that line is so sure, I'm just going to play along with this conversation. But for a while, I read that as him saying like, "Are you still talking?" Like, and Liz goes, "Oh no, I haven't talked to him in a while." I'm just like, I don't think that's what the read actually was, but I do think it's
that would be
funnier.
good though. I love that second read. Yeah.
Because he just seems so disinterested, but then he does become so actively engaged that I think that makes my read incorrect. But I can dream.
I don't know. I could kind of see a bit of just like, he's not interested, and then he realizes that Liz is going to keep talking. He's like, well, I guess I just have to get involved.
Yeah.
Because then we do have the strong pivot to, it's not over until you pick up the phone, say, "I don't love you anymore." They say, "I don't love you anymore." Great, I'll pick you up in 20. Let's grab a scone.
Scones, yes. Great.
just delightful. I really, really liked that whole beat. I mean, unsurprisingly, Jerry Seinfeld and Tina Fey having great chemistry together, just
Hmm.
making a really, really fun little scene.
Yeah.
And before Tracy comes up, and I love them knowing each other.
Of course they do. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And Jerry's true disdain for Kenneth. It's just like LL Cool J's character in season 1. I forget
Ridiculous.
his. Oh my god! Of course, ridiculous. Just like aiding Kenneth on site, but very, very good. But Jack really trying to avoid seeing Jerry, but he does get cornered, mainly because Liz immediately blows up his spot as he's trying to run away.
The thing is, I don't understand why Jack was on that floor. If he's trying to flee the building, why did he get
No.
off at 6 to then run to the freight elevator? The answer is because
He-
it's a TV show and we needed them to run into each other. But
Yeah, of course. And, talking about chemistry, I thought Seinfeld and Baldwin were electric together.
they're so funny. So funny.
Just so good. It's like the country only rich people know about. Oh, Svenborgia? No, better. Like, I loved that.
And the laugh to the no, better.
Yeah. And now I want to talk here about what did Jack think was going to happen with this pitching MILF Island? Because why wouldn't we have gone with his cameo on Heroes, his cameo on ER, his cameo on SBU? It's not a cameo on MILF Island. He's the host, it appears.
Yeah, that was a ludicrous choice on Jack's part to be the show he shares. I think he was just expecting Jerry to be the same level of capitalist pig that he is, and was just like, oh, this will
Yeah.
bring me a lot of money. But Jerry, not about it. And Jerry also
No.
not getting his cameo on Lost because, as he has to
Yeah.
learn, as it's unsaid, that is ABC, not NBC.
Mm-hmm.
But we like
I do
Lost too,
also-
Jerry.
We do love Lost. Great show. Want to point out the error here on the MILF Island pitch, where the voiceover says 25 moms, but the screen says 20.
Ooh, good catch.
A little
I did not
pitch there.
notice that.
Yep.
Wow.
Wrong number of
PI
moms,
live.
and also keep the Survivor logo out of your mouth. Absolutely not.
It's literally just Survivor.
No. No. Don't do that.
Well, so part of this is, Jerry threatens Jack to, if he doesn't pull all of SeinfeldVision, he threatens to buy NBC. And Jack's response is implying that he's like, oh, you just have $4 million sitting around. And maybe I don't know.
Way.
Maybe it's inflation, but I was just like, $4 million for NBC feels small. And I mean, I guess they refer to it as a multi-million-dollar company, and I guess I just never really considered that multi-million could still just mean 4, but
No, so here's the thing. As of early 2026, NBC Universal is worth 81 billion.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's grown, but
Yeah.
even for 2007, 4 million just felt
In 2007. Wait, somehow I found a WordPress article that's about this. Jerry Seinfeld, start getting your finances in order. NBC could one day be yours. Of course, General Electric will not consider selling its NBC Universal unit until after the 2008 Olympics. We're back to the Olympics, as the Financial Times reminds us today. The company expects to get $500 million in extra revenue from its exclusive deal to broadcast the games from Beijing, but it's the $40 billion price tag that could have Steinfeld stymied. He may have been led to believe he could get it for less. That's because the writers of 30 Rock, the NBC sitcom, think their employers worth just a tiny, tiny fraction of that amount. In last week's episode, Alec Baldwin's character failed to win over the support of the show's guest star Seinfeld. First, the 30 Rock writers dissed their employer by disclosing that one of Seinfeld's favorite shows lost. Then Seinfeld threatens to buy NBC and turn into the biggest Lane Bryant in Midtown. Baldwin's character thinks that preposterous, like you've got $4 million just lying around. That's right, folks. The news of a $4 million NBC brought to you by none other than NBC. Let's hope the real NBC executives have a sense of humor and 30 Rock stays on air.
That's astonishing. Spoiler alert, it did. That's amazing that you found an article about this joke.
On a WordPress. Oh my
Wow.
God, the name of this blog is Anna Nicole Smith and Alec Baldwin. Gossip about celebrities and their life. Hang on.
This
What?
is breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, well,
I mean,
we're posting
technically
this on our
speaking,
socials.
yeah, technically speaking, this news broke in 2008, but
That's crazy.
or 2007. But wow, okay.
Okay, well, anyway, Jerry Seinfeld can't buy NBC.
That's the long and
Is
short
the
of it,
moral
yes.
of this story. And Jack so immediately pivots into desperation. Like, on a dime, he's immediately panicked.
Okay, well, if I could pivot us ever so quickly back to our favorite boys, Tracy and Kenneth. Not a lot happens
Please.
for them in the final act of this episode, but there's a really funny and touching scene where Tracy is jealous of Kenneth's attention to Seinfeld, and he feels like he's not a big enough star for Kenneth anymore. Just seeing the cliche marriage beats playing out for the two
So
of
good.
them in this dynamic is just mwah, gorgeous. Very, very
Yeah.
simple, very recognizable, but still very fun.
I feel, and we've talked about this before, anytime that 30 Rock is like, oh, we need a C plot, let's just put Kenneth and Tracy together. And it
Yeah.
works every time.
It always does. Jack, at the latter half of this episode, is, yes, still panicking. He has no idea what to do.
Oh,
He's
well.
come up with a laundry list of ideas. They include, namely, kill Seinfeld then himself, kill Seinfeld, then flee to Stepvorgia, and then kill himself. Very far down the list, to Liz's chagrin, is Liz seduces Seinfeld. But my favorite suggestion is I fake a hurricane and
Yeah.
all broadcasting is delayed.
Mhm. Which I think he could do. It's the time that he caused the blackout in Manhattan. Come on. He has that.
Yeah,
He's got a guy.
It's a gem of an idea, and I think Jack might hang on to it. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. But a final
crossed.
note about this scene too, where he's laying all this at Liz as he's leaving Liz's office. He smells the portrait of food on her wall. Playing
Oh my
into
God.
again when Jack is stressed, he needs to eat. And now, I mean, it all follows after his heart attack. He's trying to control that a bit better, so instead
Yeah.
he resorts to just smelling pictures of food.
Do you think that he got her that print?
Specifically for this purpose?
Mm-hmm.
If Liz was not so much of a foodie, I would say
True.
yes, he bought it for her, but it's very in character for her to have pictures of food on her walls.
Yeah, you're right. So good, though.
It's so
I
funny.
love that.
And then it comes time for the pitch. Seinfeld arrives, and Jack does indeed go with number one on his brainstorming list. He does attempt to murder Jerry Seinfeld by hitting him over the head with a statuette, but he cannot go through with it. He's a better man than murder.
Well,
and
also because Jerry turns around.
Yeah, that's true. He does get caught, and that might be part of his calculus there. He just falls to his knees. He starts begging Jerry immediately. He's sobbing. He's at the end of his rope. And they negotiate. Jerry agrees to back off in exchange for $1.5 million to the charity of his choice, free commercials for B-Movie, which he looks directly into the camera when he says when it's coming out in November.
And
on the
that
Today
fourth wall
Show,
break.
it's so good. On the Today Show, Al Roker will be in a bee costume as well. And he also relinquishes the name of the second country that only rich people know about, Grenarnia. And there's a line in this scene that I do just want to call out because I do think this is one that occurs to me fairly regularly when Jerry is shouting, "What happened to this network?" And he tries to leave the office, and Kenneth just opens the door and just stands there grinning and giggling to himself, not saying anything. And Jerry turns to Jack and says, "Call off your goons."
Yeah, I read that down too.
Call off your goons is just excellent. I don't think there's
So
any
good.
show that uses the word goon more than 30 Rock, and it just really makes me smile. Because it's
That's
always in reference to
thrilling.
Kenneth, too. It's
I
perfect.
missed him. I really did.
Now you might be wondering, what's going on with Liz?
Oh,
Well-
so much.
So much. She's having a day. She bought that wedding dress
She
that she
did.
saw another woman trying on at the bridal boutique. she really falls for the sales lady's pitch of, you never know when you're going to be ready for the dress. Some women find the perfect dress and just buy it and just hope that the man comes along.
I've got yet another qualm here. I hate that plot line. Like, that's also very, like, 2000s to me. Like, if there's a Friends episode about it, like, there's a How I Met Your Mother episode about it. There's probably an Office episode about it, although I don't really know that show as well, of just, like, this idea of women being, like, there's 2 Friends episodes about it, actually. There's one where they all buy the wedding dresses, and then there's one where Monica has, like, booked a venue. I just like this like wedding craze that was in the
Yeah.
2000s. It was in so many movies. It just is another one that I don't love, but
Yeah.
is really funny seeing Liz in this dress. So I'll give it a pass.
Yes. So she buys the dress. Everyone at the office predictably rips her to shreds about this. And she does. Then this does lead her to have a meltdown in front of Jerry Seinfeld. And I think we need to hear it.
A woman answered.
Another woman already? What did you say to her?
I did a fake survey.
You did the fake survey?
I know. I'm not over it. And now I'm wearing this. What is the deal with my life?
Are you imitating me?
No! This is what I sound like when I cry.
I think I'm a little insulted.
You're insulted. I'm crying.
Excellent work, Tina Fey.
It's so good.
It's just absolutely excellent. We didn't really cover this, but yeah, the fake survey there being she reached out to she tried calling Floyd and a woman answered the phone, and Liz, out of just instinct, goes with Tracy's recommendation from a scene earlier where she pretends to be conducting a poll for the Ranford group and it does not go well.
No.
And so that is the fake survey that they're referring to there, but just really excellent work from the two of them. All this devolves, and this one ends up in Liz eating a ham dinner on the floor of the studio in her wedding dress. And Jack does give her a very nice pep talk. Something about this plotline that is just another excellent closing the circle is when Liz is defending her decision to buy the wedding dress and the writers are ripping her to shreds about it. She says, maybe it's not even a wedding dress. In Korea, people wear white to funerals, which I didn't even look up if that was actually completely accurate. But
well, I didn't look it up, but I do know that in a lot of Asian cultures, white is considered bad luck. So it wouldn't surprise me if that is true. I know that black and red are specifically, colors of like good luck, which is why there's like the red envelopes in Chinese New Year, and white is oftentimes very considered as like bad luck. It's also why in like weddings, a lot of the time in Asian cultures, you'll see the bride in like a red dress as opposed to a white dress. So I didn't look it up to confirm it about the funeral aspect, but I do easily believe it just from other stuff that I know.
Well, this is interesting because, and a very nice connection to something we mentioned earlier in the episode, but my cultural standpoint for Korean ceremonies is the characters of Sun and Jin on Lost. And so I was thinking too, there's a scene in Korea for a funeral there. We see their wedding, and I do believe the dress in the show lines with the American customs. And I don't know, either 30 Rock got that wrong or Lost got that wrong or what, but
in Korean culture, white is traditionally the color of mourning.
Yeah, there you go.
So.
Okay, well, Lost. Take some notes. Unless I'm remembering that scene wrong, but I don't think I am. Anyway,
there's no way
back to the point. Back to the point. I'm glad that is actually true because it really adds integrity to this joke coming back around. Because when Liz is eating the ham dinner on the floor of the studio, Tracy does come by and he says, "Oh no, did a Korean person die?" It's great. Just another great instance of Tracy just knowing so much about just random things.
He's got his finger on like cultural pulse. I love it.
Yeah. And that wraps up the episode. The Jack and Liz just have another pep talk together. They're gonna soldier on through another year. So, Liv, how does it feel to be back?
Well, it's not even any year. He specifically says this is gonna be our year. Yeah. And he carries her train. And Jack, that's how I feel.
Yeah. When he says this is going to be our year, do you think he was talking to the 30 Rock producers? Because clearly it was with the Emmys at the end of the season.
I think he was talking to Liz. I think he was talking to 30 Rock producers. And I think he was also talking to us in 2026.
We're in for a good ride.
I'm so happy to be back. It was such a joy getting to watch this episode. I really liked this episode. Again, as I said up at the top, you get Don Scardino and Tina Fey to working together, and it's gonna be good.
Mhm.
But it was just really delightful to come back to this show and just be so excited for season 2.
Yeah, there was something about the opening being, of course, the meta, because the show is off the air during the summer, and
Mm-hmm.
opening with Liz saying, "Oh, how was your summer? How was your summer? How was your summer?" That did kind of, I don't know, because we took a significant break between season 1 and season 2 recording this podcast. It did kind of, I don't know, it's doing this week by week does just kind of reintroduce that waiting for your show, like
Yeah.
taking it one episode at a time and then having a pause and then just really being able to dive back into it like it's the first day of school when the new season comes back up. So that was just
Mm-hmm.
really, I'm glad that we could recreate that dynamic a little bit. Um, but yeah, really, really great premiere. It's just, man, it feels good to be back. I don't know. There's not much
Yeah.
to say that we haven't already said. I think there's some seasons that come in like with a bang. And this is
Mm.
not necessarily one of them. This is very much like and I mean this as a highest compliment, run of the mill 30 Rock episode.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's just it's really wonderful to be back at
Yeah.
30 Rock.
Aw.
Oh.
Well,
Well, Liv, you're wanted on the stage.
Ah, Blerg!
So every week before we lock up and leave the studio, we're going to close up by sharing some highlights from the episode. Now, there have been some updates here. Not many, really. In fact, I think it's just one. but but we'll cover that as we get to it. So first, Liv, do you want to tell us about Frank's hats this week?
I do. The trucker hats. Frank wears two. He has one called Coin Operated and another Kill Screen.
Both
Not quite
very
as good
good.
as co-host, but
No,
both
no.
pretty good.
But both, yeah, pretty solid, but co-host is elite.
Mhm.
And this brings us to our updated corner. So last season, we had a corner that was focusing on TGS's programming, specifically any sketch that we would actually see being produced, or that the woman over the PA would say, Tracy, set yourself for insert sketch here. This bit kind of stops happening as frequently after season 1, so we decided it's probably best to retire that stage. One of our first thoughts here was suggested by, again, friend of the pod, Brenna, at the end of season 1, which was a Star Wars corner, which, Star Wars does come up pretty regularly throughout 30 Rock. It's obviously, the writers are a fan, Tina Fey is a fan, so it comes up pretty frequently. I bumped up against it at the beginning just a bit because I'm like, it doesn't really happen every episode, so I don't know if we could really have a stage for that because many weeks it would just be, oh, there's nothing here. So instead, we brought in the scope. And instead, to borrow some vernacular from our friend Liz Lemon, this stage is now going to be called Revenge of the Nerds. And we're just going to be highlighting any super nerd culture references that pop up in that episode. And this week there were 2. And again, this nerd culture is very loosely defined here. It's kind of whatever we want it to be that week.
Yeah.
But just the references and the highlights given to Heroes and to Lost at the time are our entries here. They were kind of the monoculture moment at that time as well. So,
Yeah.
but it definitely is much more nerd culture, I would say. I think
Well,
this is around the time where nerd culture was starting to become a little bit more mainstream.
It was sort of like, I think those 2 shows specifically were kind of the bridge between like genre show and primetime programming. Like
That's
I
true.
really
That's a
think
good point.
before that it wasn't something that could really be so intertwined. It was like there were your genre shows and there were your primetime shows. And I
Yeah.
feel like maybe also from this is, sort of when we were becoming aware of television and things, that it felt really emblematic of kind of a change. Um,
Mhm.
which also makes sense why it's the 2 that I mentioned here, but they're still nerdy. They're still genre shows. We still claim them for us, so we can talk about them in Revenge of the Nerds. Continuing corner here will be our time capsule moment, really showing where we were in the cultural zeitgeist of the time. And for this, it just has to be Tracy sending Kenneth to go buy a Wii. The idea of like being able to buy a Wii, come on.
This is also just very funny for the 2 of us because Liv and I
Well,
moved recently and rediscovered my old Nintendo Wii that hasn't been used in a while, and Liv and I have had extensive discussions about me giving it to her for a while so she can play. Which game was it?
Super Mario.
Super Mario. That's right. That's right. So Wii's were top of mind, and then Tracy asked Kenneth to buy him one. It was great. We then have the Get Jane Krakowski the Emmy Award. Liv and I will agree upon a moment that we really think earned Jane her moment here. We didn't actually discuss this until now, I'm just realizing, but it has
We
to be the
didn't need
Mystic
to.
Pizza musical,
Yep.
right? Right. It has to be her on Broadway, so maybe it's
Yep.
actually Get Jane Krakowski a Tony
She
this
deserves it.
time around. But yeah, the Mystic Pizza musical, no brainer.
Yeah. That wasn't something that we had to discuss even
I
at
didn't
all.
think so.
Frankly, anytime that she sings, that's the moment
It probably is
in the
yeah.
episode. We also have next up our favorite line that we'll each be choosing. I have 3.
Okay.
And I have been trying to kind of whittle down, and I can't. So I'm going to read all 3. Yay!
Good.
So the first is a line from Kenneth. I just really love his delivery here. Okay, fine. I went with you to your black vampire movie, but I guess I'll just tell my friends you have a migraine. Just
It's so relatable.
as we mentioned, yeah, the like, putting stereotypical marriage or wedding disagreements into this context here, and also as a girl who loves to cancel plans, I just really felt this line.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat with you.
Yeah. And then my 2 others, actually both are Liz lines for me this episode. I have in the phone call when she is giving the survey for the Ranford group, yelling, "Who is this? Well, who are you? I'm your worst nightmares. Who I is."
Who I is excellent.
Who I is, yeah. Liz Lemon just yelling at someone on the phone is always going to make it in my short list.
Yep.
And then I do think this is my favorite line of the episode. Again, also a Liz line. I'm doing it in my order. I'm going to get the wedding dress, and then I'm going to have a baby, and then I'm going to die, and I'll meet a super nice guy in heaven.
It's great. It's the dream.
So
It's the
good.
dream.
So good. Yeah.
I highlighted 2 of mine already, one of which being you could be a freaky deaky and do data entry.
Very
This
good.
other one is just a classic Jack zinger at Liz's expense, where he says, women your age are more likely to be mauled at the zoo than get married. And then lastly, I highlighted this one already too, but it's just the sneaky joke that really got me this time around, which is Tracy saying, "Oh no, did a Korean person die?" It's just really well
good.
executed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Liv, who is your MVP? Have you decided for this week?
I have decided it's Liz. Honestly,
Liz.
I really loved her storyline this episode. It was a little bit of a crash out for her, but not as intense as it sometimes can be. It's gonna be her year. She looked amazing in that wedding dress, and she got a ham dinner. It's gotta be my girl.
I was also having a hard time deciding who I was gonna pick for this, and one of my first thoughts was Jack, because he's crashing out and that's always fun to
Same.
watch. But I think I just decided we've seen him crash out a few times, and like it's always like ground I'm excited to return to, but nothing necessarily groundbreaking this time around.
Mhm.
And so I think it also has to be Liz. She's just got a lot going on in this episode. She's really funny. She's very endearing. She's just Tina Fey knocking it out of the park. And then again, the Jerry Seinfeld impression is just
the
absolutely
Seinfeld
incredible.
impression really did kind of throw it over the top. Jack was also one of my short runners, and so was Jerry. As a guest star, really kind of carrying a big piece of this episode. I had a really great time with him.
Yeah. Well, Liv, do you have any predictions as we venture into the rest of season 2?
So I have 2 written down, because I still feel, at our season 1 recap pod, I did sort of predictions for the show as a whole, or the season as a whole, which I think are still sort of kind of top of mind. But my 2 specific new ones that came up from, or sorry, 3 new ones that came up from this episode. I think the whole this is my year, this was supposed to be my year bit will continue, specifically with that wording. I think Jenna will be back to normal, either next episode or an episode after. And that was big air quotes on me saying normal. That just kind of feels like something that is not going to get continued. I think we're just going to have had that joke over the summer, and then we're not going to talk about it again.
Sure.
And please, God, Sherry Shepherd, come back.
I was going to say, I'm looking at right now as I enter your predictions. I'm looking at your predictions for season 2 overall, and number 1 is more Sherry Shepherd, please. So that is a
Yeah, and I'm gonna
consistent
keep
request.
saying it.
And your other 2 quotes for your other 2 predictions for season 2 were Jack will have another off-screen relationship with a political figure, and there will be more evidence that Pete is in love with Liz. And you already
Well,
made a pitch for that this episode, so we'll just have to see about the political relationship and Sherry Shepherd.
if only. Maybe it's
If
both.
only.
Jack has an affair with Sherry Shepherd. That'd be
Gasp.
crazy.
Gasp.
Wow.
Well, that does it. That does it all for this week at Lemon It's Wednesday. So until next time, like I mentioned at the top, you can find us on Instagram at Lemon It's Wednesday Podcast or on YouTube at Lemon It's Wednesday.
And you can email us about the rich country you go to that we don't know about at lemonitswednesdaypodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely excellent. I'm Jack Dalton.
I'm Liv Olcott. See you next Wednesday.
We got a boogie gang.